Natan is insanely strong right now, and I actually got a win streak using him. But before that, I'm really close to reaching 35k subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do. I mean, I really appreciate you watching my videos even if you're not subscribed, but of course, I'd appreciate it even more if you hit that subscribe button. And if you also appreciate my videos and the existence of this channel, then you should definitely subscribe. I used to really struggle using this hero, and I honestly wondered why Natan's win rate is so high this season. But maybe I was just using him the wrong way, because it's really important to know when to be aggressive and when you can or can't take a fight. Actually, this game was just practice. I'm still getting used to how to play him. Before, you had to wait until the late game before you could really fight back, but now he can actually hold his own even in the early game during 1v1s in the gold lane. But of course, it gets annoying when you're winning your lane and suddenly the enemy backup shows up. Instead of having the advantage, the situation turns around. But you should only fight in the early game when you already have stacks on your passive, or your skills is available for you to get stacks. Never engage the enemy without stacks. Although in this game, we really fell behind in the early game, and the enemies got the lead because my teammates kept dying. The good thing is, I wasn't really behind, only my teammates were. That's why I was confident we could make a comeback, especially since I was using a hero that can clear minions fast. Natan is really scary, especially when he's at max stacks and can free hit. It's super important to maintain your stacks because that's what dictates the game. And when you're at max stacks and the enemies start running away, chase them. Your movement speed is fast, plus you have the slow effect from Weakness Finder, which I think is the best tier 3 talent for him. We were actually starting to recover here, and I was still snowballing even though we were behind as a team. When it comes to Natan's build, he works really well with items that stack, which is why Feather of Heaven and Concentrated Energy fit him perfectly. They're his core items. You need Concentrated Energy for sustain since it gives hybrid lifesteal, and Natan can make the most out of it. You get Spell Vamp from your skills and lifesteal from your basic attacks. The good thing is it stacks with Natan's basic attacks since he deals magic damage. The same goes for Feather of Heaven. It gives both lifesteal and attack speed. Actually, if you think about it, Natan is the best user of Feather of Heaven. I mean, sure, there's Kimmy and Harith, but the one who can really maximize Feather of Heaven is Natan. It's very important. If you play Natan and don't build this item, you might as well quit ML. So yeah, we still won even though we were behind in the early game. You should never get too confident when there's a Natan on the enemy team because he can easily turn the game around. Even I'm not that good at playing him yet since that match was basically just a practice game. Let's see if I can improve in my following games. In this second game, my lane opponent was Ixia, and honestly, you won't really have any problem if she's the one you're up against. You can easily dodge her ultimate when you use yours, and when you combine it with basic attacks, Ixia ends up looking useless against Natan. There was actually a scary moment here. Good thing I quickly realized that recalling wouldn't work, because even a slight delay in Grok could have already blocked me with his wall and used his ultimate on me. Although a few moments later he actually did it to me. But this time I already had Aegis and my HP was full, so it wasn't a big problem. Plus, there's damage reduction from the turret, and the enemies were way too deep, so we really fought back. Suyu was clearing the minions here, and I didn't get the 2 minions, so I was about to trash talk him, but nah, better not. By the way, I'm using Aegis in my games here, but you can also go for Inspire, Flicker, or Purify, depending on what you prefer. Aegis is great for anti-burst since Natan is really squishy. If he gets caught off guard and can't react, he dies instantly. Inspire, on the other hand, boosts your damage, but it's risky, and most of the time Natan doesn't even need it. Though it's still fine to use if the enemy team doesn't have strong burst damage, basically when you know you won't die easily. As for Purify, I'd only pick it if 4 or 5 of the enemies have hard CC. Otherwise, I'd choose Aegis most of the time. Just remember that Purify doesn't work against suppression. Flicker, meanwhile, has a long cooldown. And since Natan's ultimate already has a very short cooldown, it's fine not to take Flicker, unlike heroes like Leslie and Layla who really need it. Natan can push insanely fast, especially when his passive and items are at max stacks and his ultimate is up. In this part, the minions were already low HP while the turret was still full HP, but I still managed to take it down. That's how important it is to maintain his passive. Because remember, you can maintain your passive stacks just by using basic attacks, but they won't increase. You need to use your skills to build up those stacks first. After that, even if you only rely on basic attacks, your damage will already be insane. That's why Feather of Heaven and Concentrated Energy fit him perfectly. Just by using basic attacks, you can maintain their stacks. And since those items stack with basic attacks, it gets even better. You can even build stacks while hitting turrets, which is why Natan can push them so fast. What happened here was actually pretty funny. I ended up taking a 1v1 fight against 2 enemies. This is exactly what I was talking about. Natan is strong even in the early game as long as he's at max stacks. Even though I was up against 2 enemies, I still got the kill and managed to survive. My Aegis really helped a lot there, which is why I'm using it. Plus, the turret's damage reduction also played a big part. I'm telling you, I've been saying it since earlier, Natan can easily handle Ixia. He can totally bully her. Usually, Ixia is strong in fights in laning phase because of her passive, but here she just looks helpless.
Against the dying of the light.
Anyway, in this game, I kind of learned how to use Natan properly. I mean, I already know when to use his skills and which one to cast first, whether it's the first or second skill, something like that. Let me give you a scenario. You can get 6 stacks from just 1 minion wave. In the early game, you can use your first skill followed by your second skill right away. You can't do it the other way around because it'll mess up the minion positions and your first skill won't hit properly. So if you use your second skill first, wait a bit before using your first skill. It's a bit slower when trying to reach max stacks. However, in the late game, you shouldn't use your first skill first on minions because your damage will be too high. There's a chance your first skill alone will kill 2 of the minions, and you won't be able to build stacks anymore. That's why, in that situation, you should start with your second skill instead. Now when engaging enemies, it's better if you already have your item and passive stacks up. But if not, make sure to build them up quickly by hitting the enemy, and ensure that both your first and second skills connect. That makes a huge difference. Before, my combo after using my ultimate was to go first skill, then second skill. But I found out it's actually better to use the second skill first, then the first skill, especially when you ult forward. That way, you can immediately disrupt the enemy's positioning and prevent them from using their skills. And by the way, your ultimate reduces the cooldown of your first and second skills by 50% of the remaining cooldown, and it applies twice. It's not based on the total cooldown. You can use it twice, right? So for example, if your second skill still has a 10-second cooldown, it'll be reduced to 5 seconds on your first ultimate use, and then down to 2.5 seconds when you use it again, meaning you can use your skills again right away. That's why if you want to fully maximize Natan's potential, you should always use your skills first before activating your ultimate. It's a huge factor. I didn't used to do this before because I didn't know. But once I learned about it, that's when I realized just how overpowered Natan really is right now. But don't get me wrong, I know most of you would understand my point, but for those who might not, of course, you don't need to use your skills before using your ultimate if there's no enemy to hit, right? I just want to make that clear in case someone misunderstands. It's always better to explain things properly. You also need to be careful when using your ultimate, because most of the time that's your only way to back off. Even if you have Flicker, it's not always available. Avoid using your ulti forward, especially when the enemy team has a lot of crowd control. I used to do that a lot before and I kept dying because of it. I accidentally got a Maniac here and was just waiting for Hayabusa so I could get a Savage, but what happened next was hilarious. He actually rode on the flying cloud and passed right in front of me. So yeah, the game ended without me getting the Savage. What a shame. Another win! It's just like when I used Layla and managed to get a rare win streak. It means they're both really strong. Anyway, in my last game, I tried using Inspire to see if it's still better for him than Aegis. And in this game, it actually was, since the enemy had an Esmeralda who would just absorb the shield from my Aegis. But what about you? What battle spell do you think is best for Natan right now? Comment down below so I and other viewers who want to use Natan can read your thoughts. I was about to get another Maniac here, and there was even a chance for a Savage since the enemy mage was about to respawn, but my teammates ended up finishing the game. What a shame.